This is Riley's big debut back there. Look at him. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, when we go live, keep it on me, not the presentation. Everybody stand up. All right, let's go. Oh, yeah. All right. All right. So we've talked all morning, right? We've talked all morning. Go ahead and have your seats. Dennis refuses to sit. Go ahead. We've talked all morning about how to achieve success, how to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, how to push ourselves to accomplish things we don't feel like, how we don't feel like to do it anyway, and giving you the tools and the resources to do it. So my question is, what can screw all of this up? And this is a topic that most people never talk about. Those that are watching on social media, we got Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, Twitter. I think we're going to be podcasting this on Apple Podcast and Spotify and all those fun things. So welcome, everybody. Everybody say hi, everybody on social media. That camera right there. Wish you guys were here. So what could screw all this stuff up? And that is our attitude. And like I mentioned earlier, is people never want to talk about this piece of it because, hey, we just think positive thoughts. It's so great. Here's a good analogy I'll give you. So imagine if this is your garden. So remember how I told you that you standing in your garden and saying there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. The weeds are taking over your garden, right? There's no way around it. The weeds are taking over your garden. It's kind of like if you have to understand you have to keep moving. So if you look at your garden, for example, or your garden is sitting there, if you're just standing still like this in fear and not knowing what to do, the weeds are going to grow up around you. If you're moving around, right, in your garden, you're stepping on like a road that's used versus not used, the weeds aren't going to grow. So the first thing you got to learn is keep moving, okay? But we're going to now talk about these poisons, the poisons of your attitude and how that can keep you from getting what you want. And we're talking about it for the reason of we have to know that for every positive, there's a negative. And what I think people do is they have this belief that, hey, my life should be like this person who I see on social media. Their life's always great. They're traveling the world, doing all these fantastic things, and my life sucks. You know, or why do I think this way? I wake up in the morning and I'm negative about this and I'm complaining about this. The challenge is that we think that our lives are unique, but they're not. We all have these challenges. And so what I like to do for a few minutes here is tackle this concept and really dig in deeper of what these poisons are so you know that they're there and some ways to kind of diffuse it. That sound fair enough? So get your paper out and I'll have you guys take some notes on this. So the number one poison or disease is indifference. And this comes down to the mild approach to life. So indifference is a disease or a poison because you're standing here not making a decision. Okay? Not making a decision one direction or the next. So what I want to teach you is this. If you're going to fail, there's a chance you could fail every single time you do something, right? So if you're going to fail faster. So you learn something from it and move on and go another direction. If you get that attitude to say, yes, it may not always succeed, but I'm going to go through it. I'm going to learn something from it. I'm going to keep moving on. So don't sit there and sit on the fence. What I always tell people, I'm either going to blow you in or blow you out. I'm either going to get you in or get you out. I'm either going to move you forward or move you backwards, but I'm not going to let you sit on the fence. You can't sit on the fence. You can't be indifferent and say, things are okay, and I don't know if I should do this because, I don't know if I'm going to make the right decision or not. How many of you guys have done that before? You kind of just go back and forth in your head so many times. And what I know is the number one thing that leaders do, every leader, is make decisions very, very quickly. They assimilate the information and make fast decisions. They take the information and make a fast decision. They're not always right, but guess what happens? They get better at it. And if they're going to fail, they fail faster. That make sense? So don't be indifferent. Don't sit on the fence. You get in or you get out. You move forward. Don't sit on the fence. Number two is the mental paralysis. Mental paralysis. So you have to understand that life is, let's put it this way, make it easy for you. Here's how crazy life is. Here's the challenge of life. You're not going to get out alive. Right? That's the reality of life. You're not going to get out of this thing alive. So do you want to sit in the corner and huddle up with it? We can cover you in the corner. We can coddle you. We can give you food. You can go to prison. That's basically what it is, right? But what kind of a life is that? My question is, would you rather have, in my opinion, I would rather have 10 years of amazing than 60 years of average. I would rather have 10 just solid years of pure amazing. And so what you have to realize is you have to make decisions. You have to learn that whether I succeed or I fail, I'm moving forward. Movement. You have to move. You can't just, every single day, you're making decisions. You're making decisions. And because of that, you'll gain momentum, you'll learn from it, and you'll get better and better at it. Successful people make decisions quicker. All right, number 3 is doubt. Doubt. D-O-U-B-T. You've got to become a believer in what you're doing. So what I mean by doubt is this, is you saying, well, it works for this person, I'm not sure if it'll work for me. Or I'm just a kind of a different type of person. Or I'm a little bit slower learner than most people, so I may not figure this out. Doubting yourself. That is a disease. Instead of realizing that you may not, here's what I know for a fact. If I take 2 people, so I take Jude and Christian here, right? And let's say Christian is 10 times more knowledgeable on whatever it is we're going to market or sell. 10 times more knowledgeable than Jude is. But he's sitting back because he's doubtful. He's hesitating on everything he's doing. He's just got doubt in his own abilities and what he can do, even though he knows the information. Jude knows very little, but he just takes massive action. He just gets out and does it. No matter what, he will succeed so much more than you will because of that doubt that you have in your mind, that back of your mind, that doubt that you have, that seed that says, I don't know if I should. Does that make sense? It's a poison, and people have so much doubt in themselves and their abilities. What is the difference between you? By the way, every single table in this room, which I won't tell you who it is, has a millionaire at the table. Every single, as long as they're all here. Some people that aren't here. But the other thing is, every table should have at least one person that also did that challenge. By the way, all of you guys are on social media. We did this really cool thing, this challenge of all you had to do for $100 is for 30 days, watch 20 minutes of a video. 20-minute video for every day for 30 days. For $100, which equates out to about $10 an hour. That was paying you to do something, right, to learn something. So why did some do it again and some didn't, is the question. Indecision and doubt. Those 2 things. Not deciding to do it and doubting they could actually get it done. That seems easy to most people, but how many of you guys thought, well, I don't know if I can do that, and why even try if I can't stick with it? I doubt that I can actually make it for 30 days straight, so why even, I'm not even going to go in and race if I can't win. These are all poisons and diseases that we have in our head. This indecision, this doubt, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if I failed? All these things are poisons that happen to all of us, and we have to know they're there, and then make sure we have the arsenal, the Roundup, to spray on those diseases or those poisons to get rid of them. You guys follow me? All right, next one is worry. Worry. Social problems, personal problems, family problems. Worry. So you got to realize something is things are going to happen. Things are going to mess up. When you accept that and just realize that nothing's ever going to be a perfect straight line. It's how you deal with it. It's how you deal with it. Worry is so deadly because we sit back and it actually causes health problems. We worry about what could happen, right? It causes us, as we mentioned earlier, you feel it as if you're already there. And unfortunately, most people, as we talk about, look in the rearview mirror so much more than they look in the windshield when it should be the exact opposite. Why is the windshield so much bigger? You should be looking forward. Most people spend so much of their time worrying about, because if this happened, what if this happens again? What if I can't do this? What if I don't succeed? And that holds them back from pushing forward and doing the things that they should do. Number 5 is overcautious. Overcautious. Again, you have to realize, as I mentioned earlier, is you're not going to get out of this life alive. Right? Life is risky. Life is risky. You coming up in here and being on the top of this tower is risky. You sitting next to John Clayton is risky. Right? Why is it everyone so pumped up on the other positive stuff? We talk about the negative stuff. They're like, oh, God, yeah. That's me. Negative Nelly. I just love how people get so pumped up about the positive stuff. I'm like, oh, he's talking about that. That's not comfortable at all. Tell me if that isn't true. If you look at all the things you've done in your life, is the biggest things that have held you back are the concept of worry, the poison of not committing, worrying about something if this failed, indecision. All of those things are toxic. And you got to know that they're there, and we all have them. It's how fast you deal and get through them. Number 6 is pessimism. Pessimism. Do you have anybody in your life that no matter what happens, they will find something negative in it? And you can have a whole conversation or a whole situation that happens, and you remembered exactly how it happened, and all of a sudden this one person has this one little piece of that could have happened, kind of like you read a book and you read one page of that book, and it's out of context of the rest of the book, but you believe it's this way because you're framed looking for that way. That makes sense? So what you're doing is you learn to live a life of pessimism, to look at the negative in everything that happens around you. And if you're looking for it, guess what happens? What you focus on, what happens? Where focus goes, energy flows. Whatever you're focused on, you will move towards. And so because of that, if you're somebody who looks for the negative in things, and you've created that habit of looking for the negative in things, let me ask you a question. Let's say, for example, this room, if this room was actually what I wanted it to be, 45 degrees, could some of you find a negative in that? Could some of you right now put a positive in that? Some of the guys in the front that's a lot hotter up here because of these windows, find a positive in that. The way you look at everything could be a negative or could be a positive. It's your choice on how you look and frame it. If you talk to somebody, have you not found the situation where I'm talking to Dennis and he's talking about things that are happening to him, and he does something to me, and I'm ticked off at Dennis because I can't believe he did this to me. But if I actually knew the framework of that, of why Dennis took those actions, it may be a whole different story. Right? Have you not had where you've actually found out, well, I understand now why they were so pissy, or I understand why this actually happened this way, because look what happened, look where their life is at, right? Look what's actually happened to them, and they have a reason to be. I've seen so many people, though, this whole concept, I've seen so many people that should have every reason to be pessimistic, every reason to be negative. I look at their lives, and this has happened, I'm like, why is this person positive? I see other people who, no matter what happens, Robin Williams is a great example of that. Robin Williams, in my opinion, is one of the funniest people on the planet. This guy made everybody else laugh. This guy had, in my opinion, everything. By virtue of his family, thought he was a great father. Why did he kill himself? People say it's medications, but it also came down to, the root of the whole thing is he didn't make himself happy. Right? He looked at the world, and framed it as that, basically I have to do all of these things, but he never had a formula for what he had to do for himself to feel happy. So if you choose to, you'll always find something negative in everything. You'll always find something negative in everything. So pessimism is such a big poison. And how do you guard against that? You guard against that by watching what you're listening to, who you're talking to. You got to guard this gate. You can't, when you watch the news, how many hours of the news are you watching? Is that positive? So your parents, your peers, your people that you're around, your society, your friends you hang out with, what are they focusing on? Because what's going to happen is, as you're around that and what they're putting into your brain is how you'll start thinking. You've got to guard that gate. And by guarding that gate, it'll help you start and keep asking yourself, why are they doing this? What are they going through? What can I find that's positive in this situation? And that reframes everything. So you understand something is typically the questions you ask yourself are the difference between success or failure, because if you could ask a question like, what could I be happy about in the situation? what is something good in the situation, what is something good about this person, it forces you to think about that versus the other things you normally would think about. It's all simply a habit. All these things are habits. So pessimism is one of the most deadly poisons. And so the last one I'm going to cover is complaining. Complaining. I love you. He said, don't cover that again, please. So many people look at life and they say, okay, but look at my life and where things are at. Either I can accept the fact that I'm not where I want to be, or I can just complain about where I'm at and give myself valid reasons for why I think that way. Can you not? Can you not, in every situation, can you not validate why you think the way that you do by having an excuse and a validation of why that is? And the challenge is, we go through our life with these references. So let's say if, for example, you're in a bad relationship, as an example, which I know you're not, but you're in a bad relationship. Maybe you have some time in your life been in a bad relationship. And maybe you were in another bad relationship. So now you've got two references. So one reference isn't bad. One reference is you got one leg on this table, there's nothing to stand on, that table's going to fall down. You get two references, you start getting more power to it. So he's got two references of why this relationship isn't working and why it's something maybe he's doing. And so then he has a third situation that happens. Now he's got a full stool, right? And he's got power, and he gets a fourth one. Now he's in trouble. Because the fourth one, that table's solid. And so you create these references based upon experiences, based upon things that you've done in the past. And so what ends up happening is something else. Let's say he gets the gal he's with, I know what she loves, and I see your videos and pictures and stuff. And it's amazing to see his relationship now. But most people that have had, if they've had bad relationships and they have this reference, what happens, two of them, they sabotage it. So what happens, like a thermostat, the thermostat's set at 70. He knows from past references when a relationship gets to this point, it's going to get screwed up. Something bad's going to happen. So what will he do? His brain wants to protect him, right? Keep him away from pain. So his brain's going to look and say, listen, you end this. You sabotage this thing. If you sabotage it, now it's on your terms. You know what's expected. This is what happens. So his thermostat kicks in. Once it's 70 degrees, if things are going great, he'll sabotage it because you know it's fantastic because he's looking for what's negative versus what's right. He's looking for what's wrong versus what's right. You guys follow me? And we do that in business. We do that with how we work out and what we do. All these things are based upon past references and framework of where we are today based upon the past things that have happened to us. Let me ask you a question. How many of you were born and in your birth thing said, here's Glenn Roth, a rock star, right? This guy that's a super salesman, this guy that's amazing in business. We all had a clean slate, right? We all had a clean slate. We are the people we are today because of the references that we have, the legs that we have from the experiences, and that's where we're sitting right now. And all of these things as far as the toxicity around us, let me ask you a question. So if you have a glass of water and you have somebody putting sugar in that water, is that going to hurt you to drink that sugar unless you drink too much? Not going to kill you, right? Now, if you've got one person like him, with one drop of strychnine in, how many drops does it take to kill me? One drop. So you have to look at your life in that way. So people say, well, it couldn't go the way it went. So you might have somebody who's really negative and a bad person put sugar in the water, right? You might have somebody who's good intentions, somebody close to you, put a drop of strychnine in that water. So you have to look at and say, okay, once you become, like I call it, an omnipotent point of view on your body, ask yourself, why do I think this way? Why do I think I don't deserve what John Weems has? Why do I think I'm not? And so the easiest path for you is to complain and make excuses. Well, this person got lucky. This person did this. Now, I'm speaking to my own people within my company. I'm going to ask you for people obviously outside. Do you know people within your own company, right, that have the same tools and resources that are more successful than you are? Do you look at them and say, what do they do differently than I do? Or do you look at them and say, man, they just had, they had more time than I did. And, they don't have 4 kids. They've got 2. And they called this one guy. He said yes. And so that was his first, 4 phone calls. And it's so much easier to do that, isn't it? And to complain about our situation. Talk about what's wrong versus what's right. So if you reframe that and to realize, so I want you to take notes and write down, what are 3 beliefs that are holding me back right now. So write down 3 things that you believe about yourself or your situation that you feel might be holding you back right now. And I don't want you to do the normal thing you do in school. You take notes as slow as you can. Actually, what comes to the top of your head. 3, and you can work on this later as well, but I want you to write these 3 things down right now. 3 beliefs that you have about yourself, your relationships, about your body, about your business, that you believe and you know that's holding you back. What are 3 beliefs that are holding you back? Fast as you can. And you can do shorthand because you can read your own writing. You know what you're talking about, right? 3 quick beliefs. You know what we're doing here, or are you already done? Okay. Now what I want you to do is below there, excuse me, pick one of those 3 that's the most toxic to you. You know what's held you back in that area the most. It's the most toxic. And I want you to write down 3 references you have of why you believe that. 3 things that happened to you of why you believe that situation is true. Like, I only attract bad relationships, or, whenever I don't deserve to make the money that I want to make, or whatever it might be. What are the reasons you believe that? 3 reasons or 3 references that you have of why you believe that way. Or 3 reasons, again, fast as you can, 3 reasons why you believe that way. Now, why are we doing this exercise? We're doing this so you start thinking about the fact that you're in control. Before, you just thought you had these ideas. Well, I don't deserve this. Relationships don't work out. I can't get my body in shape. Whatever it might be, you have these references, but all you see is you're not doing it. And you're sabotaging. You're making excuses for it. That's what you're seeing on the surface. What we're doing right now is taking what I call an omnipotent point of view and saying, why do I believe this way? Now, let me ask you a question. Those 3 things you have written down. Could you not, if your life was a bit different, could you not have had those 3 things that have happened to you of why you believe that way? Could they have not have happened differently in a positive way? Could not all 3 of those things happen in a positive way versus a negative way? Yes or no? So what does that tell you? It's all here. You're letting it control you. Your attitude has been controlled by past beliefs that are limiting you. So I want you to picture, are those 3 things, read those 3 things in your head again, not the 3 things of why you believe that way. I want you to look at the 3 beliefs that you have that are holding you back. The 3 biggest beliefs, read those in your head. Okay, just read them on paper, not out loud. Now what I want you to do, I want you to take a hatchet in your hand, mentally picture a hatchet. Picture each one of those having legs of a table, 3 legs of a table, a stool, another stool, 3 stools sitting on stage here. Picture it in your head, guys. Picture it. Take a hatchet and chop the shit out of those legs. Okay? Chop them. Picture it in your head. You're chopping those legs out of the stools. Got it? You guys actually doing this exercise in your head. Now what I want you to do is write down what would you have to believe in those 3 things to impact your life in an amazing way. Do the exact opposite of what you should believe that would impact your life in a positive way. So the 3 negative beliefs that you have, now turn them into positive beliefs. So if I don't deserve it, it'll be I deserve massive success. Turn it around to a positive now instead of a negative. Say done when you're done, fast as you can. We need stenographers here. Is that what they're called? The courthouse? Okay. Okay, that's easier. That sounds as cool when I say court recorder. Stenographer. Yeah, say that. Stenographer. Yeah, just articulate it. Feel it. So now my question is, so you know what you should believe, right? What's actually you should believe that would impact your life in a positive way. Now I want you to think in your life of 3 situations that actually showed that was true. Forget the other shit you just knocked the legs out of that said the opposite, which said, I don't deserve this because of this, and here's the reasons why, or whatever it might be. I want you to pick the number one thing that's on that list of those three, the number one thing that you feel would impact your life amazing in a positive way. What is that one thing that would impact your life in an amazingly positive way if you believed it to be true? And write down 3 references of why that is true, of things that have happened that actually prove to you it is true. Forget about the old stuff. What are 3 references you have of why that is true? And write those down. Let's get our mics, girls. And I want somebody real quickly to give me an example. You guys know I was going to call on you. And guess what, by the way, I do something else that's kind of unique. If no one volunteers, I do a really cool thing called forced volunteering. Okay? It's better to volunteer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Stand up. Who's going to talk? We're just going to pick one of these, and I'm going to help you dissect it in front of everybody. Here we go. Love it. Michael Christian. That's weak. All right, Michael, what is the number one limiting belief that you have about yourself or your life? And tell me the reasons why you believe that. What are the 3 references you had?
That's a strong one. Hi, I'm Michael. One of my things is I'm not good enough, to make it, to do it. And, the reasons that I'm not good enough is because as a child, they said I was ADD, HDD, dyslexic, had all these labels put on me. Also some of my past, because I have a black past in a manner of speaking. I've done some things I probably shouldn't have done. Well, I know I shouldn't have done. Mm-hmm. So I kind of carry that around with me a little bit. And, I also feel like a lot of times I'm just not prepared, or I don't know, that I don't have what I need to do whatever the job and task is.
So you believe that. So what are the... So you believe that you weren't good enough or didn't deserve it or couldn't achieve it because of ADD, a bad past. What was the other one?
That I'm not prepared. I don't know.
Okay. So you chop those out because you know those are, what's the word for it?
Bullshit.
Correct? See, I'm not swearing on social media, Facebook. Michael Christian, what's your handle? Okay. So Michael, what are the new 3 things that you know because of your past that you actually you are good enough?
Well, I'm awesome.
Prove to me you're good enough. Tell me the 3 things, reasons why.
The reasons why I'm good enough? Back me up a little bit there. Why am I good enough? Because people compliment me.
You got one reference.
Yeah. And, I do have this ability to solve things that most people say, I got called magic last week. So it was like,
Not Magic Mike, I hope.
No, I asked my wife if I could do that. She
Ooh,
said no.
Hello. That's one reference right there.
And, that I actually achieved my childhood dream, which was, I wanted to work on the space shuttle program, and I achieved that goal. And so that's
awesome.
And it's funny when I talk about these limiting beliefs and I look back and they're like, wow, I did achieve my dreams when I set out to do them, and overcome those limiting beliefs. And so, I got to remind myself that I am fucking awesome,
Yeah. Love it.
So, and the positive things, I am awesome. I've only just begun, and I have everything I need within me now.
You're awesome. Thank you. So my question is, if he believed that, what he said, those 3 references, would that not change his reference point of knowing he now has the leverage on himself when he thinks that bullshit thought to push it away? Right? You see what we're doing here? Okay, thank you, Michael. So guys, this is something so fast, all you're doing is interrupting your own pattern, right? You're interrupting and saying, here's what I thought before. So first you got to find out what you think about yourself. What's holding you back? You know what's holding you back, right? You already know. You know as far as your energy level, as far as your excuses on business, as far as your excuses on, you know those things. We already talked about this, is we all know what it takes to succeed, right? What does it take to succeed as far as your health? Hello, loud. What do you got to do to get healthy? Exercise, eat right, get a trainer if you need to, Is there a limit of how many programs you can get online as far as programs to help you lose weight, have more energy, feel better? So what's the reason we don't do it? Excuses. So let's look at every other area of our life. Let's look at why haven't you succeeded in business when others have? Tell me the truth, not the bullshit excuses you make in your mind. What are the reasons you haven't succeeded in the past? Shout them out loud. What are the reasons why you haven't succeeded in the past in business the way you wanted to? So you already know what they are. Huh? So all you've got to do is those feelings that you have, almost all those were feelings, right? You guys heard all those? Is find out why you believe those things to be true. You had obviously references, right? If not, you made them up. You have references of why you believe that way. Realize that they're there, chop them out, and now rechange it and say, what would I have to believe? That I'm not enough, I am enough. Right? What references do I have to prove that I am enough? All this is reframing what's already there. You guys could, all the things you've told me that your inadequacies, you have a dozen, the references you have of why you're not enough, of why you are enough. You already have those. You have to just get those in front of you. Write those down. So this is an exercise I want you guys to do over the next week or so. Even while you're here, because it's obviously a paradise type, fun location, is start looking at this and saying, what are the things that are holding me back? What are the 3 or 4 things that are holding me back in business and life and my health and everything else? And why do I believe the way I do, which is why I'm not motivated to get to the gym. I'm not motivated to make the phone calls. What are the reasons why I'm not doing them? Once you understand why they're there, these poisons, which can be one of these different things, right? Indecision, it can be fear of failure, it can be complacency. It can be all these different poisons. Find out what those are so you're being conscious with it. So what we do is I make the analogy of we're like, most humans are like in a river with a boat with no oars. We just do whatever happens to us. And we don't even realize we're going off a waterfall in a few years, right? We just go in this boat and whatever happens versus saying, I want to go there and actually choosing to go there. So I'm saying to you is choose what beliefs you should have. Choose what you would have to believe to be there. Now, when I had my mentor tell me these things, he would add something else to this, which is something that I want you guys to write down. It's the word incantations. So now that you know what you should believe about yourself and you know enough to create the references. So you remember our exercise here? You can do this with everything you do. Number 1, what are the beliefs that are holding me back? What are the bullshit excuses I have? That's the best way to reference it. What are the excuses I have about why I'm not where I need to be? I'm not enough, I don't know enough, I'm not good looking enough, I don't have the right support, I don't have, whatever it might be. It could be blame the economy, you can blame whatever you want to blame. Then why do you believe it to be that way? Why do you believe that you're not adequate enough? Why do you believe that you're not good enough? Why do you believe that? Chop it out and choose what you want to believe. So now we have your words, I am good enough, right? That's one of the things he said is I am good enough. I'm amazing, I'm good enough. What you want to do is create incantations around those. And what I want you guys to do is over the next week, find out what these are and pick what are the top 5 things. Caleb, we're going to pull these incantations from, do we have a printout or do we not? I think we had it on the board. What are the 5 incantations you can create from what you're putting together that if you actually believe these to be true, your life would be amazing? So if you believe, like I told you about my daughter Jaslyn, I am brave and I'm confident, right? I'm brave and I'm confident. What would that change in your life? Huh? Look at me, guys, before you go to the screen. I know we're like flies. Lights. What do you have to believe to be confident? Right? So if you know I have to believe, if I believe this about myself, I believe this about myself, I'll be unstoppable. And guess what? If you actually did believe it, guess what? I remember I told you before, you are where you should be. You can disagree with me all you want. Where you are mentally is where you are currently in your life. All you have to do to get where you want to be, if it's somewhere else, is believe you deserve and that you are already there. So the way you do that, remember I talked about this concept called brainwashing? Social media is going to love me for this. Brainwashing. And the whole point is this: we are all brainwashed, we're all conditioned. We have our parents, our peers, our teachers, our media that have already brainwashed us. All we're doing is choosing what we're actually going to believe. Remember how we talked about the fact that when you choose to believe something and you feel it, right? Like an experience, and you've anchored that feeling, right? You can shift anytime you want to if you have this right here. So here's what you want to do. Pick 5. Pick 5. Here is a list of some of these. So Matt, this is something I just like that you can like choose from. I have several that I use. And your goal is every morning and every night you say these 5. And what I like to do initially, if you're not accustomed to this, is say them out loud. And I call them incantations. I actually got this from Tony Robbins versus affirmations, which is what we all learned with Jim Rohn days. But incantations are where you're using tons of energy with it, right? Which makes, remember we talked about with energy? Focus goes, energy flows. We're focusing on this and giving it energy, both those sides of it, because you will have so much more memory and so much more belief in it when you have energy. So if I stand here and said, I'm breaking through old limiting patterns of behavior and becoming more successful every day. I don't believe that. Do you believe that? Where I'm like, I'm breaking through old limiting patterns of behavior and becoming more successful every day, right? And I'm just like, and I'm using some energy with it. That's the difference of an incantation versus an affirmation. Find 5. These are some of the examples, but take the ones you wrote down, those 3 things that were limiting. You then turn them around to what you need to believe in order to have what you want. Put what those are and create some really cool 5, incantations for yourself. And every morning when you wake up, every night when you go to bed, the first thing you do are these incantations. Now again, I saw a few of you. I don't have time in the morning. I've got to get my coffee, and then I've got to check my email. Then my kids might be up, and I might have to sit on the deck for a little bit and think about my day. We have excuses I'm telling you guys, what I'm giving you today is kind of a rewiring of your time, and what I'm asking out of all of you is this. All the things I'm going to teach you all day today. Before we get into the whole side of building your business and your side hustle or building a brand for yourself and all these things, I'm asking for about 3 hours out of your time every single day. And those 3 hours are simply shifting time. They're not any new time, no extra time. You're going to shift time. Like if you're driving, when I drive in the car, people think I'm crazy because I do this kind of shit in the car when I'm driving because it's something I can do. And I'm sitting in the car, they pull beside me, and I don't have music on. I'm just saying this stuff out loud. Right? I do this stuff. This morning before I came down here from the elevator, I'm saying this stuff in my head. Now you can say, oh my gosh, I'm lying to myself, because your mind frick is saying you're lying. Am I not right? And when you say, I'm sexy and I'm enough, and you've already believed that you weren't, what does your mind frick say? You're full of shit. Money flows easily to me. I can have anything that I want. People love listening to me. I can, whatever it might be, right? Your brain, every time you do this initially, is going to say, you're a liar. You're not this way. Look at you. But guess what? Remember we talked about your brain? It does not know the difference between reality and non-reality. Your brain, whatever you feed it, it will use. And if you start doing this enough, guess what's going to happen? Repetitive. Repetition is the mother of skill. The more times you do it. So the way my mentor told me, he said, don't call it lying to yourself, call it telling the truth in advance. Because he said, do you want to be a millionaire? I said, yes, I do. Well, guess what? When you believe you're already there and you walk and talk, how would a millionaire walk in the room? Would he walk around like you're walking around? Would he walk around like he's this guy? How would he talk to people? How would he, deal with a phone call, calling somebody? Would he hesitate when he does something? He would always ask me those kinds of questions. Remember I talked about questions or the power? There's so much power in questions. When you ask yourself a question, you reframe everything. So somebody says, I don't know how to do it. I can't do this. Well, if you did know, what would you do? Well, I don't know. I don't know how to. Well, but listen, but if you did know how the answer to this, what would the answer be? You see what's happening here? Your brain's trying to say, well, I know there's not an answer, but he's saying find an answer. So my brain's like, okay, what you can't do, remember you get in your head, that's what happens. So you get in your head, you're dead. Because when you get in your head, you start focusing on the how am I going to do this, it stops. I can't figure this out. I can't do this. So you don't get in your head. You start with believing it and then having it. You remember which I love the movie. I think it does a great job, the movie The Secret, right? Talking about the law of attraction, which is great. The only thing we're missing is the action part within attraction, right? Action. You have to do something. You can't just sit here, like I said, and say, life flows abundantly to me, and God, please help me, but then not do anything. right? You got to actually take action. You got to do something with it. But that's the way life is. All I'm saying is you're choosing what you're focusing on. I'm confident I can accomplish anything. I can do anything, whatever your things were. Once you have that down, once you know what those are, and you actually believe it, you will become it. It happens every time. You guys read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? You've read, how many books have you guys not read? We all know this stuff. It's not like it's some rocket science. The Bible's talked about it for years. In fact, every personal development person I've met has elements from the Bible, right? It's not like it's some new thing. It's a different spin, a different way of looking at it, right? So the choice is, what are you going to program yourself with? If your brain's a supercomputer, what are you going to program it with? What are you going to wake up telling yourself every morning? Because if you don't program it right away, everything else will. Everything else will. And you'll create negative momentum. I want to ask again, how many of you from this group, which again I told all of you here, we've got about 30 of you that are watching on social media that did this, and I said I'll give up to $10,000 away this month. All you have to do is spend 20 minutes and watch a personal development playlist that I put together in your mind, to help start reprogramming what you should start believing. And so the challenge I'm giving all of you, I'm telling all of you guys watching this as well, the challenge is, could you commit, and would it not change your life if every day you spent just 30 minutes putting something positive in like this, something that's going to motivate you for the day, and then 30 minutes of learning something new? Would that change your life, do you feel? How many of you guys have actually done this already? We've talked about doing it. I want to ask you, how many of you guys has this actually done something amazing for you? I'm going to ask a couple of you. Stand up if you actually watched the videos for 30 days, just I'm curious again. And so I think Aaron might be feeling sick, so I'm going to grab a couple other people, a couple girls, come and grab some money for me. We're going to go ahead and... You've got money? We're using your money? Oh. All right, what I want to do is, so again, only those that watched it for at least, let's say 25 times, the video that we had out on social media, 25 times. I know who actually is lying and who isn't. If you guys are lying, because I know your numbers, because they give me the numbers. So if you actually watched it for 25 times at least and posted every single day that you actually watched it, I want you to stay standing up, okay? Huh? But you do it, though. Stand up. Okay. And I think we've got enough. We'll see. So go ahead and hand out to those that are standing up. Don't stand up. I'm watching. Don't stand up now. What's that? Okay. So go ahead and hand out to those people that, and if we run out, we'll have to send you money in the mail. And those that are watching this that did it as well, we'll send you money in the mail. What this did is simply form a habit. So what if now those that did it, I want to ask, get the microphones out. I want to ask two people in here. I'm going to ask John Clayton first. Let's get a microphone to John Clayton. And I want to ask John, because I know, actually, John and I met how long ago, John? I forget now. 3 years? 3 years? John actually went to an event with me. We shared a lot of experiences together. But John, even though he's so busy, found the ability every single day to prime himself to do these things that we're talking about and to spend every single day at least 30 minutes on personal development. Tell me how this has impacted your life and your business and your relationship with your wife or anything.
It's really impacted every area of my life. So it's enabled me to go beyond what I ever thought I could do. I've simple things in my relationship. I learned something from Darren Hardy about he does a relationship review with his wife every week. So my wife and I started doing that, and man, that's really helped us over the last 2 years, amazingly. We've been married 30 years, and we still need to do this. So, every area of my life, things are happening now that I could have never imagined. Every area.
Thank you, John. Let's grab Dennis Martin. Wish I could. Dennis, how has just simply putting something into practice, using your no extra time, your net time, and plugging 30 minutes a day into personal development into your life, how has that impacted you? Turn around if you can for the camera, because I think they're...
Oh, actually, it's just something I think Kori turned me on to probably about 2 years ago. And I sort of built on that, the whole concept of habits and doing it for 21 days, and I kind of made a commitment to him that I was going to do it. And this is actually the third iteration. And with each iteration, it becomes even more and more powerful. It's all about habits. It's all about that momentum. My focus is, I've gotten to a comfortable part of my life. My wife and I are where we want to be. But there's a danger to that. There's that comfort, and that's exactly and then the fear of trying to stretch or maybe, putting a little bit more momentum that than you're currently trying to work on. So I've been fighting the comfort. I still got a lot of life to live, and I want to make sure that I live it as rich as possible. And I know by living it rich and living it with my family, being able to have that legacy with the grandkids, that it's where I really want to be, and where I am today is sort of a stepping stone to basically getting there.
Thank you. Let's grab one more quick. Who wants to talk? No one's doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. We won't get you. Come up closer to here, if you will, like middle of just so we can get you on the camera.
Sure, make me more uncomfortable. That's right.
Stretching. Look at this.
That's right. Well,
turn around for the camera.
Oh, for the camera. Oh.
Welcome to NBC.
Thanks. Tom Chappelle. What's that? Smile. Okay. Yeah. Tom Chappelle. Recently, I did a cold call and got hold of a CEO, and I thought this is fantastic, major business deal. Got it lined up with Sergio. We did our call, we did our thing, and then it went cold. And that's happened to me I don't know how many times. But listening to these motivational videos, I just this time said, no, I'm not going to take that. So I kept pursuing it, knowing the issue was the facilities manager who didn't want anything to do with us. So I kept pushing, and I just took the attitude, so the next step is the plant visit. That's what we're supposed to do. So I just said, so when are we coming? I did that several times. CEO didn't respond. Finally, the CEO kicked it down but copied me and said, your call, guys. What do you want to do? So the COO responded and said, all right, let me know what you want to do, and this guy's going to call you and set it up. So we're scheduled to go in a couple weeks.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. I will tell you, go ahead and sit down if you wouldn't mind. Not another $100 coming by, right? I just keep standing here. The biggest change for me in my life is constantly plugging into things that are positive. Now I want to ask all of you this. All you have to do, I think we got it fixed. Some of you said I had trouble getting the kickback from our system, is from your cell phone right now to make sure you're plugged into everything that we're doing when I go live all the time. So this is how you actually can grab your phones. And all of you guys watching can do this as well. To see when we actually go live, to get the copy of the playlist that you can use. And what I want to ask you to do is between now and the end of September, every day, 7 days a week, not 6. I want to create a habit every day, 7 days a week, to spend 20 minutes a day to 30 minutes a day at the most, 20 to 30 minutes a day on personal development, on learning from the masters that understand the mindset and how to control your mind. And I've got a cool playlist that you guys can plug into, and to join that, all you do is send a text message from your phone right now. So type a message to the numbers 313131 and just put my name, Kori. Some of you guys have done this already, which is fine, but if you haven't done this, just simply send a message to 313131 and simply put my name, Kori. And you should get a response back that says you're plugged into it, and then we'll get you a copy of that playlist that you can plug into. But also, whenever we go live, you'll get a notification of that. Second thing, while you get your phones out, is you're going to hear about another group that we have, which is called the Body Unlimited Energy. And that group we're going to hear a lot about later today. And if you want to join that group, which is basically a group of all of us that are motivating each other to be healthier, to move our bodies more, to have the energy level that we need. Because the whole thing is this. You can disagree all you want with me and say, I just came here for the money. I just came here to be successful. If you're not alive, you won't care about the money. If you're not alive for your kids or your grandkids, what does it all matter? For me to accomplish things that I need to accomplish, I need energy. At this point right now, I need to function off of 5 hours of sleep a night. That's the schedule that I have. And so I have to structure myself. If you guys might have seen before we flew out here, I mean, we do like IV treatments, we do cryotherapy, we did compression therapy, I just took an IV thing back there. I mean, we're doing, because I know I have to demand so much from my body, so I've got to keep my body in the certain levels. And so we have a whole group of people that are focusing on not just somebody telling you what to do. And don't get me wrong, I still have a drink now and then. I still eat like shit now and then. But I'm what I call the concept of center line in everything you do, the mindset, the body, the money, the business, all those things. It's something I call center line, which means you want to be as close to center line as you can as much as possible. I hate people that say, you shouldn't do any of this stuff, and guess what, I'm not doing it. They're not congruent. You see them out, and they're like, yeah, you're not doing this shit. You know, I'd rather just be honest and say, hey, I do, because I also want to celebrate my life and do what I want to do sometimes, but 90% of the time, I'm congruent with what I believe in. And so this group is about people that are not looky-loos, joining a group to say, hey, these guys are doing something. It's to actually post and show your progress, and we're motivating each other. I'm going to pick on you later, Jared, but you're a rock star. I mentioned you a little bit earlier. If you want to join that group, all you've got to do is send a text message, the same number, 313131. Again, you're not automatically on this group because you're getting text from us. You have to separate this out. So send another text to the 313131. Just put the body in the message, THE body. And that'll make sure you're part of that group. You get a different text that'll say you're not part of the group. And all you got to do to make sure you're plugged into that private group is click on this link to go to the group. And then you can ask to join. Okay? That's how you can plug in. Because the thing is, what we all think about is that we think we're on an island somewhere doing these things, and we talk about impacting the planet, impacting the world. We talk about the diseases of attitude, what can happen. Let me ask you a question. How much of your life in normal days activities is around people that are motivating you, saying, oh my God, Glenn, amazing job. You're a rock star. You've got this, and pushes you to your limits of being outside your comfort zone to be a better person? How much of your life is actually, be honest, how much of your life percentage-wise is like that? 10%? That's because of me. I'm joking. What percentage? Is it not a very small percentage? So you are around a toxic environment. So you can be the best fruit, the best plant, but you've got weeds all around you guys. So you've got to find these pockets, which is this group right here is kind of the nucleus, which is why you guys have the jackets, which we'll never have again. And by the way, is if you have a significant other that's here that wants one, I got to figure out an easy way besides saying tell Bree, but we'll find a way to get so they can order one if they want one as well. That's why you have that jacket. You guys are what I call the nucleus of the founding members of the Professionals Network, of a group of people that are choosing to bond together and impact the world in a positive way. So you have coaches and mentors and people that are around you, your peers, that are pushing you to be better. Sound good? All right. So, everybody on social media, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned because we'll find some fun stuff to broadcast later this week as well to you guys. We also have a cool video we couldn't get you guys last night from on top of Apex, the tower that's over there, the welcome reception, so we'll get you guys a copy of that video shortly. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you share this. And again, make sure you join the groups, 313131 to Kori and also the body. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.